This is going to be our very first lesson with the remote collar with this little one. And all we're going to do for the first dozen or so sessions with the remote collar is condition her to what this sensation means, how to turn it off through compliance. A couple quick things about remote collar training. While the remote collar stim at a high enough level can be used very effectively as a form of punishment to get a dog to stop doing a certain unwanted behavior, at the working level, or what we refer to as the working level, it's also highly effective to get the dog to comply with proactive behaviors that we want. But it's a weird sensation, even at a low level. When the dog first feels it, it's confusing. The dog's like, what the heck is that? And if the dog doesn't know what it means and how to turn it off and how to keep it off, then it won't make any sense to the dog when we start using it. So a lot of people make the mistake of just putting one of these on the dog and then zapping the dog whenever they don't like what the dog's doing, or zapping the dog when the dog does not comply to them telling the dog to come. And what the dog starts to learn, again, going back to how dogs can be real superstitious, the dog ends up starting to think like, oh, the way to prevent that sensation from happening again is to just keep a distance from the owner a lot of the time. You are such a good little girl. For this to make sense to the dog, there needs to be a real high level of consistency, not only in where you're at on the dial, like what level, because this goes from 1 to 100, but also to make sure that the dog is always getting the stim when you press the button. And a lot of times, if the collar is on too loose, then let's say it's on this side, when the dog's looking this way or leaning down, you might be signaling and the dog's not getting the stim because the studs are not really, we don't have good connectivity. They're not reaching the skin because it's just too loose. Maybe one is touching the skin, but the other's not. They both need to be touching. So an untrained person will think, oh, well, it's not high enough, I need to dial up. And so they start dialing up and tapping, and they're still not getting any response out of the dog. Then all of a sudden the dog turns this way and the collar tightens just enough to get connectivity. And at that point they tap the button and they're way too high on the dial, and the dog's like, ah! We don't want that. So right now, the collar you guys have is probably, come here, Puppo. Come here, over here. It is, I'm gonna say that this is too loose, and I tightened it as tight as it could possibly go. So I'm probably gonna get a different collar, but we'll see. I'm gonna start off and see if I can just get her to respond. And when we first start doing this, we start at a level 1, we tap. If the dog is like, huh, what? You know, usually they can feel it in single digits, but often it's around 6 or 7. She's physically sensitive, at least when I put a prong collar on her, she certainly was, so maybe it'll be lower than that. But you'll see the dog kind of go like that, or maybe it turns its head, maybe it just looks at you, crooks an ear. You know, it gives some sort of indication that it can feel the stim, and at that point, you know you've reached what we call the working level, which is where the dog can feel the stim, but it's not frightening or painful or anything like that. And that's where we start working the dog to condition the dog to what this stim means. And then down the road, if the dog ignores the stim at a level that you know the dog can feel it at, you can always dial up a little bit to where the dog learns, like, oh, pay attention to that sensation when it's at its normal level, because if I ignore it, it can become more intense to where it can become uncomfortable, if not outright painful. And the goal here with remote collars primarily is to get and maintain the attention of the dog, not to zap the dog into compliance. And that's where remote collars tend to get a bad rep, because I mean, a lot of it just stems from people having no idea how to use them or what they're all about and why they're so effective. But there are also trainers out there that are too heavy-handed, in my opinion, and they're lighting dogs up with remote collars to try to hasten the learning process, or to get the dog more obedient faster, and that rarely, if ever, works well, especially with little puppies. My least favorite thing to do is punish dogs, and while punishment is an aspect of leadership, leadership is not punishment. It's the full gamut. Guidance 24/7. We're leading the dog, telling the dog what to do, what not to do, rewarding the behaviors we want, punishing the behaviors we don't want, eventually punishing non-compliance for the behaviors that we do want, playing with the dog, providing the dog mental stimulation, providing the dog exercise. Obviously, some physical affection and love is something that we want to be giving them as well. But we don't want to be smothering them with unearned amounts of physical affection all the time, or else they stop taking us seriously. They start seeing us as being soft. And even fluffy little submissive puppies, that can happen, you know, if we're too soft on the dog, if we're spoiling a dog rotten. Just like a little kid, if there's no discipline, if there are no rules that are enforced, no personal boundaries put in place, then the puppy starts thinking that they own the human instead of the other way around, and that's where almost all behavioral issues start and stem from. That, and just giving a puppy too much unsupervised freedom too early in life, to where they start performing the normal behaviors that a dog would perform and rehearsing them and getting good at them, behaviors that we are not cool with. Incessant barking, chewing on stuff they shouldn't, you know, being too hyperactive in the home, peeing and pooping in the home, attacking other dogs in the home, resource guarding, whatever, you know. So enough about all that. We're going to start the conditioning process. What I'm going to do here in the beginning is I'm just going to start tapping we want to be on continuous mode, that's why it took me a minute. I'm going to start tapping at a 1. Can't feel it, no reaction at all. So we're going to go up to a 3. No reaction. Let's go up to a 5. No reaction. Yes. Maybe she barely felt it there for a second. I'm at a 5. I'm going to go up to a 7. Still no reaction. That tells me this collar's just too loose and we don't have good connectivity. So I'm going to swap this brick out onto a different collar, and we're going to be right back. What do we get? So instead of taking the brick off of that other collar and swap, I have extra remote collars. So this is also a mini educator. It's the exact same collar you guys have. I just have a different, the exact same system. I just have a different collar that I can put the brick on, where I can cinch it a little bit tighter to make sure I have good connectivity. So we are going to start back at 1. Rip up, up. Oh, this is good. She'll be a little distracted. Sorry for the noise. Might go into the backyard after a few. Nothing? Dial. Oh, maybe not. See, in the beginning, we got to be careful. We don't want to start too high, but sometimes they give us false cues. time, she's also a little nervous about that lawn equipment, which makes them less physically sensitive. Remember, like, the more mentally stimulated they are, the less physically sensitive they are. So I'm going to move this into the backyard where we have a little less mental stimulation and distraction. So we're going to start over again. I'm tapping at a 5 here. Ah, she feels it, yes. And she felt it a little too much. That reaction was a little too intense, so I'm going down to a 3. Yes. Pretty sure she can still feel it there. Yes. All right. So we're going to start at a 3. Maybe I will find out that she really couldn't feel it at a 3 all the time because it's so light. I mean, if you ever put one of these on your hand, I guarantee you will not be able to feel this at a 3. Most people can't feel it until it's at like 12. I can't feel it until it's between 15 to 17. So, what I'm going to do, the first thing we do is teach the dog that baseline communication, what this signal means is come back to me. And the way we do that, the dog already knows what leash pressure is. You've seen that routine. So, you know, just to give an example here, straighten her out. Wait till she's kind of facing away from me. Apply leash pressure. Yes, very good. You know, so now just a tiny bit of leash pressure when she's not heavily distracted by a lawnmower or something, she knows to give into it. And when she does, she gets a reward. So what we're going to do now is we are going to layer this signal over leash pressure to teach her that when you feel this, it means the same thing as when you feel this leash pressure. So wait until she's distracted. I am going to press down on the button and hold it. So she's going to feel, she's going to be like, what the heck is that? Then I'm going to start applying leash pressure. When she gives into that leash pressure, I'm going to let go of the button and a reward comes out. So we're just conditioning the dog to realize that this sensation means the same thing as leash pressure. That's where we start. Because remember, the whole reason, I mean, there are 101 uses for a remote collar, but the biggest reason we want a remote collar trained dog is so we can give that dog the freedom to safely and responsibly run around off leash, knowing that if there's a moment, and there always will be, where we need to recall that dog right away, if the dog does not comply, because maybe it's chasing after a squirrel towards a busy street, or going to run up to meet some dog where the owner's like, no, my dog's aggressive, you know, whatever the case is, we don't allow our dogs to ignore the command, come. They have to comply to that, and we proof that through remote collar training so that we always have that bulletproof recall and the dog will never ignore it. So we're just going to start here. I'm going to be totally silent for 5 minutes or so, and I'm not giving her any commands. I'm just using this and leash pressure. Holding down. Yes, very good. I'm going to dial up to 4. So we're right in between where I'm wondering if she can feel it and I know she can feel it. But when I tapped at a 5, it was like, just seemed a little intense, and I don't want to start off that intense. Boy, she really knows how to get this tangled around her. There we go. All right. No, don't do that. Yes, very good. Good work. Yes, very good girl. Usually after about 20 to 30 rounds of this, at some point I will press on the button and the dog will just come to me without me before I apply the leash pressure, and that's when you know they're starting to get the hang of it. Yes. Very good. Yes. I think she can see. Hey, stop. I think she can see the lawnmower through the window of the house. Yes. Very good. Very good. Yes, very good. Yes. 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 Very good. Yes. Yes. Good dog. Yes. What a good dog. Yes, very good. Boy, if I didn't know any better, I'd say she's already getting it. Yes. Good girl. Very good dog. Let's check our connectivity here. Good little lady. Such a good one. Very good. And that's on pretty snug. Yeah, we should be good. Yes, very good girl. Good little girl. You are such a good one. What I prefer is to have the dog facing away from me, to be a little distracted by something. But we don't always get that luxury. That's why sometimes I'll throw a treat that way and I'll be pulling this way. Oh, we got it. Good girl. We just got to take our time with this, you know? And generally what I'm going to do, we don't do half-hour long sessions with this unless I'm explaining it to a camera. Usually these sessions are going to be 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops, but I'm going to do them 3 to 4 times a day so that within like 3 or 4 days, the dog has a pretty firm grasp that when it feels brrr, that means come back to your handler and get a treat. Yes, very good. Yes, very good. Yes. You are such a smart one. Yes! Very good. Very good. You are such a smart one. Where'd those pieces go? There you go. Pretty good dog. Yes. Very good. Yes. Very good. Yes. Very good. So, if we are at the perfect level where it's not freaking the dog out to feel the sensation and they're food motivated, sometimes we don't even need the leash pressure. We just push the button down, they feel it, they don't really care about it, then they see the treat and they come to the treat and the stim goes away. That's just as good as using leash pressure. Yes, very good. You are such a good one. And I'm at a 6 right now. Yes. I know she could feel it a minute ago because she was shaking her head at a 5, but she's not giving me any reaction at a 6 now. Yes, very good. So, I'm going to check connectivity again. Very good girl. I'm actually going to loosen it 1 notch. Good girl. Because sometimes if it's too tight, it also kind of dampens the connectivity. And in the beginning, because every dog is unique, we don't know for sure, so we play with it a little, we take our time. I'm going to dial back down to a 5. Yes, very good girl. Sure I'm not stepping in any poop here. Yes, good girl. Very good. Yes, good girl. I know she felt that. Did you kind of see the way she started shaking her head a little? Like, what the hell is that? I'm at an 8 right now. Yes, very good. Did you just bite my cord? Good girl. Yes, good girl. I think she's getting it already. Some dogs, they catch the snap like right away. Other dogs, it takes a week. It's different with every dog. And she might just be fooling me too. This might just be coincidental that every time I tap the button, she comes right at me for a treat. I might have a totally different reaction from her later on this afternoon. Yes, very good. But right now, she's pretty spot on. Down. Good. Yes. Come. Down. Good. No, no. Down. Nope. Good. Yes. Down. Good girl. Yes. Very good. Very good little girl. I'm gonna dial down. I was at an 8, I'm going down to 7. Just because that shaking of the head, it's just a little much for me. Remember, we want this to be conflict-free in the conditioning process. We don't want the sensation to be unpleasant. It's okay that it's confusing and the dog's like, what the heck is that? But if we see the dog shaking a lot, maybe it's not unpleasant. She's certainly not yelping out. She doesn't seem afraid at all. She's still taking treats, but you know, again, it's like she's a little puppy. We want the ultimate reaction. Like when we break out the remote collars, we don't want the dog to go, oh shit, that's that thing you put on me to zap me. We want the dog to be like, oh, it's time to go outside and do some work. Put that thing on me. You know what I mean? So we want to create a positive association to seeing the collar, despite the fact that the dog eventually learns that the collar can suck if it needs to, if you ignore it. But if you comply at the working level, nothing but treats and praise. Down. 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 Good girl. I'm already starting to tap to reinforce my commands. Yes. Down. Down. Good girl. Nope, nope. Down. Right. Down. Down. No. Good. Very good. Holding down at an 8, getting nothing. This might be a connectivity issue. Yeah, she can't feel it. Sit. Oh, you're good. You are such a good one. You know that? You're such a good one. There we go. Another thing is, with really hairy dogs, the fur can sometimes block the connectivity. So it's like in some moments they feel it and in others they don't because a little too much fur gets underneath it. So we tend to kind of comb the studs through the fur occasionally, especially in the beginning. Yes. Very good. Sit. Good girl. Very good. All right, it is on. Yep. Yes, very good. All right, let's check this out.